Sometimes a film comes along where you think to yourself, who approved this? A Robbie Williams biopic where he's played by a monkey.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
So Better Man has certainly raised some eyebrows straight out of the gate with this monkey approach, but the big question is, why the monkey? Like, why have they done this? Well, Robbie Williams has stated that he's always felt less evolved than others, so wanted to show it in this form. He's also said how he's been like a show monkey in the past, so again you can see the direction there. But also the director Michael Gracie, who was the director for The Greatest Showman, has said that with him being a monkey, he thought it would be easier for the audiences to emphasise with the character, because Robbie Williams has, he actually says right at the start of the film as narration that a lot of people think I'm a narcissist, a lot of people think this and that about me, here's my story. So that's one of the reasons why they went for the monkey, just try and take the face away from the character and just so we could try and relate to this character as this new form. Now, as someone from the UK, I'm very aware of who Robbie Williams is as a pop star, and I'm sure many countries around the world will know of him, but when him and Take That were at the height of their game, they never really broke into America, and so I'm sure many Americans will be thinking, who is this guy and why is he a monkey? But at least with them, they'll actually have this whole new experience with his music, because there are a few bangers here in terms of ones that do hit you in the feels or do just get you pumped up a bit, like Rock DJ. There's a great musical sequence with that song in particular in Central London. Angels, again, a more emotional song, and very sort of predictable when that would come in the film when you see what's involved here. And so I can see many Americans in particular enjoying this because it's all fresh for them. But someone who knows these songs, that wasn't anything I wasn't expecting. I think most of the big hits were there. And yeah, the musical sequences were well done, and there's a slightly different arrangement there too. But it didn't really do anything where, like some musicals, really get you going. And the rest of the story is quite cliche. So it's really the monkey thing to be the standout element here, but everything else is like, cookie cutter.
It was the best of times. It was the blurst of times, you stupid monkey.
So we've gone over why the monkey, but does it actually work within the film? And I'll say that over time you do get used to it, and it's a very realistic looking monkey, and that's thanks to the effects team, who were the same ones who worked on the recent Planet of the Apes films. And I think, it's not like we're seeing an elephant play Robbie Williams. It is a monkey, and we obviously have close ties there. And some people even look like monkeys, like Gareth Bale, and I'll say even myself, a little bit as well. I sort of fall into that category a bit. So you do get sort of understand it at times when we see these characters interact, that it sort of just blend over time. But there are also moments where you think to yourself, this is clearly a monkey. This is clearly a character who's not real, mingling with real humans, so it looks a bit like a video game character in a cutscene sort of thing. And then there are also instances where you think to yourself, do I really want to see a monkey doing this? One example is in a club, and Robbie Williams is getting with a woman, and she basically wanks him off. And I'm like, do I really want to see this? I mean, it's like one of those moments where you're watching it thinking, oh, hold on, I'm watching a monkey get wanked off. What's going on? Something that does work well in Better Man is that relationship between Robbie Williams and his nan. It's very relatable. Alison Steadman plays it brilliantly, and many of you will know her recently from Gavin and Stacey. But yeah, she was perfect casting here, and you really feel that pure care from her to him, and how grandparents can be your biggest supporters. They'll want you to take the risk because they've been through life. They have that life experience. They'll say, go for it. Really, chase your dreams. So that really came across very well. As expected, there is a good portion dedicated to Take That, as that is the boy band where Robbie Williams made his name before going solo. And so we do see the formation of the band and the usual sort of dynamics within boy bands, and how originally they were promoted to be more in the gay scene, but then that changed. So you get all that sort of stuff. But I was a bit surprised with the sort of time frame of this movie, because it shows a lot during the 90s, but only goes up to around the mid-2000s. But Robbie Williams does eventually rejoin Take That for a period of time, around 2010, I think. And I thought they might have shown it up to that point just to see him go back with the band. But I guess as it is a Robbie Williams biopic, they wanted to keep it more focused on him. And with that, it means that the focus is mainly on those people in Robbie Williams' orbit at the time. One being his nan, as I previously mentioned. One being his father, who's an absent father, who's played by Steve Pemberton. And another who is his girlfriend at the time, Nicole Appleton, who was part of the All Saints band. So you have these key players there and how they react to Robbie as this new level of fame gets to him, and how drugs take over as well. And so, as I mentioned earlier, it is quite cliche. We've seen it even in a recent Amy Winehouse biopic, how drugs and that fame can affect someone. And the film is 2 hours and 15 minutes, so it's a long film. I don't think it needed to be that long. It really did start to drag in certain points because, as you know, those musical sequences are good, but they don't really make you last all the way to the next one. So you're like, oh, okay, how many more times can I just see an outburst and see this character do drugs? It's starting to get a bit repetitive. And then by the time we get to that final scene, it does get a bit self-indulgent, how he is comparing himself to Sinatra. And he really doubles down on what he thinks he is and how great he thinks he is. So at the start of the film he says some people may think I'm a narcissist. At the end of the film I thought to myself, well, yeah, you are that, but now with this movie I know why you are what you are. But did we really need a film for that? Not so sure. I mean, he has told a story in the public quite a few times in the past, and it just it's pretty much the sort of prime example of a sob story. You see on X Factor, with the whole that whole backstory. But it I said it works alright. It's an okay watch, but I don't think it's anything up there like some of these reviews have been saying recently, where it's 5 stars or anything. I mean, just look at these Rotten Tomatoes scores: 91% critics and 99% for the audience. I just think that's incredible. I don't know how that's correct. I think by the time this film comes out properly in other regions, that audience score will probably go down. But even though the critics score, I'm surprised it's that high. Because, I said I thought it was good, but it didn't really ever reach a level where I thought this was amazing. Those music scenes were good, and they did hit the emotional cues when it comes to certain points of the story. But I don't think it's done anything here to really break new ground. I mean, even the whole one of the main points in the film is how he battles his demons, and he sees different variations of himself in the crowd or in the audience, which again that's been done before as well. But that just kept going on and on. So it's like they rinse and repeat a few of the elements quite a few times within the movie, whereas I felt like they could have maybe mixed up a bit when it comes to that. So yeah, I mean, I'm quite shocked with that. I think people will probably enjoy it. Is it worth seeing in cinema? I mean, I always think a musical, because of the sound, it is worth seeing with that good sound system. But I don't think this is a good enough biopic for you to really race out and watch it. I think if you really want to see it, maybe watch it at some point. But it's no one where you really have to see it ASAP. And it comes back to one of the original questions, like, who is this film for? Like, are there enough Robbie Williams fans to want to watch this? And if not, who else is going to watch it? Like, is there enough people who just like musical biopics to watch this film? So it's an interesting one. I would be interested to see how it does when it comes to its financial success. Like, is it going to be that or not? I'll be surprised if it is. But you never know. So with Better Man, it is a film that has many of the same ingredients as any generic biopic, but we have a monkey skin on top here that does make it stand out. It has a decent start, but then it ebbs and flows and then eventually drifts, and you're just checking your watch thinking, how long is this going to go on for? As it could have used a good 20 minutes shaved off to make it much tighter. Who's it for? Not really sure. I mean, Robbie Williams fans definitely, but I don't know many other people are going to be really that interested to see it. And as someone who's now watched it, what have I really got from it? Not a lot. There's some decent musical sequences, but I don't really know much more about Robbie Williams. I know his version of events. Some things are up for debate when it comes to, like, Take That, for example. But as a man, I think of him the same way. That there's no change there if that was the ambition of the movie. And so I feel like with Better Man, it's a film that it will have like a solid sort of audience who are going to really love this, but I think for most people they won't even bother with it, and it will just eventually go into obscurity in the future. So for me, Better Man is one where if you really got an inkling to check it out, go for it, but if not, maybe just skip it. So if you've seen Better Man, what are your thoughts on the movie? Let me know those down in the comments below. Also, now it is 2025, Happy New Year. And also, what are you looking forward to seeing in 2025? What films are you most anticipating? Let me know all that as well down below. And if you want to watch another video, on screen we have a couple of my recent reviews.